Number 3.
It's getting down to the nitty gritty.
This is where it gets serious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna judge you extra hard right now. Ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
You mad?
I'm not mad.
I mean,
I already gave my justification to that car, so
Yeah.
I want to hear yours and why you have it so high.
reason why I have this one so high is, yeah, I'm biased. All right, I admit it. We're all biased.
We are, but I tried so hard, and when I put my list together, to put as much of that personal bias aside.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's something about having these ultra amazing on-screen cars, and then even if they only grace the series once, and then they ride off into the sunset, or in his case,
Let's not go there.
my bad, Hans. Just something about them being on there one time, making their impact, and then me and you are talking about them years later. Everyone is talking about them years later. I feel like there's something very significant about that. I mean, dude, this Vilside RE7 kit is just out of this world. Hasn't aged horribly at all. And
you still see them pop up around in various car shows to this day. Look, now that we're getting into top 3, and you're talking top 3 most significant cars of the entire Fast and Furious franchise. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go with Dom's Charger, which for you is number 10.
You don't need to put that out there. I was hoping people forgot by this time in the video.
I went with Dom's Charger simply for the same reasons that you gave for yours. I think when you talk about a Fast and Furious franchise film, you can't not think or even mention the Dodge Charger. It's iconic in its own right. It was really it's really the vehicle that made Dom like a real man, right? Because when he first unveiled the Charger in the garage, he was still really scared about driving it. Yeah, it had that iconic scene crashing through the railroad and with the Supra and all that stuff. But from there on out, every time we were introduced to the Charger, you just kind of see like this confident Dom, and that really set the tone and the vibe for his character for the rest of the franchise. And the Charger does some really, really cool stunts and wheelies too. Yeah. So all in all, I just think when I'm thinking Fast and Furious and top 3, I have to have the Charger there. It's a staple car. Whereas to me, the Veilside RX-7 is not a staple car. It's a very, very cool car, but it's not a staple car.
Yeah.
All right. Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Okay. All right.
I knew it.
Yeah. Okay, number 2.
Well, you know what? I'm kind of glad that it is turning out this way, because we're going to get a fresh take on each other's reasons and then be able to bounce that off and come up with our own. So, okay. Well, I think I could go first with this one. I mean, what needs to really be said about this orange Supra? I mean, Paul Walker's most iconic vehicle, the hero car. I mean, even for us as a business, every time that we step into a meeting with a licensor or something like that, this is one of the cars that we'll put into a presentation, because this car just carries so much equity with just the way it looks, with what it brought to the series. It really, I think it's the most important one for establishing the legacy of Fast and Furious. And I like to think of things in terms of what has become a household name. I feel like you could go up to any person on the street and show them a picture of this car. They might not know its name, but they'll know exactly where this car is from. It's just become a household name in its own way. So, yeah.
I think it goes without saying, but you pretty much made my justification, if you're guessing right, where my list is going. Which is why I'm surprised you have it where you have it.
Yeah.
And then it makes me curious to see what your justification is for number 1, because that was very compelling.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, for obvious reasons, I can't really disagree. For me, The R30, this R34 Skyline in particular, just from a Fast and Furious franchise like standpoint, man, when I saw this thing like just light up with, at the time, the neon lights are so cool.
I still like neon lights, by the way.
I mean, that's another thing for me. But when I saw it and, you know, Brian was just ripping through the highway, lane changing and, you know, getting to the race, and then he gets there, he's spraying the NOS out of his front bumper, all that stuff. That's just when I fell in love with it. And from there on out, the R34 specifically, R34 Skyline GTR became my de facto #1 favorite car. Still is to this day. That's the one car that I would love to have. So from a franchise significance and also very strong personal bias, that's why I have it so high. And I think when you think about Brian's top cars, it's this car, the first one that comes to mind. So for that reason, I have that as #2. But you can't go wrong.
Yeah, this is definitely a double-edged sword right here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
That wraps up #2.
you know, I think that we don't even have to do a grand unveil for
Number
our
one?
#1. So let's just let me just do a little 3/4 action for the camera. So, I know that you guys were looking for a grand climax and all that, but here it is. For #1, I got Brian's Nissan GTR R34.
Yeah, and for my #1, I had to go with Brian's orange Supra.
All right. Well, you want me to go first?
Nah, you went first
Okay.
last time, so I could go with this one. So for all the reasons and justifications that you just stated, you literally said that this was the most important car for the franchise. So that's why I have it as #1. And when I'm thinking about it from the 3 criteria, you know, I think you don't think Fast and Furious without this car. This car also put Toyota Supra really on the map, right? For what that car is. It was the iconic 10-second car that everybody references. It has that memorable scene when it lines up with the Ferrari, obviously crashing through the railroads. I just think this is, as far as staples go, this one really just kind of hits home for me. And you really can't go wrong. I mean, I think between these two is like a 1A, 1B type of thing.
Literally.
But just from the iconic... I feel like when you think about the Fast and Furious franchise, like the one race of all races that has happened in the entire franchise has to be that Charger and Supra. Like that's the one iconic race.
Yes. Well, every single type of compelling story, it always has to have, you know, the hero and maybe not his enemy, but maybe sort of his like adversary.
Yeah.
You know, for us to create the dialogue and then for it to inspire people. And this one was really had, you know, the adversary role of the Charger and vice versa. And yeah, that's a hard one, but it's a justifiable one, and I could see it.
Yeah.
Well, for mine, the reason why I have this listed as #1, when I was a kid and I saw this, after that scene was over, I left the movie theater changed, because from that very moment on, I was a car guy overall. And then I just started to dive in more and more and more. And it was all because of this car here. And I think that throughout this entire video, I have a recurring theme of enjoying seeing things still the movie, and then they ride off into the sunset, even if they're never seen again. I know that this one only had a very short time in the series, in the franchise, but man, the impact that it's had. I mean, you know, I see people in our city who have the R35, but they have it in this type of livery, because they're just paying an homage to it. You know, I know that there were millions of other kids who left that movie theater, who are now car guys too. Yeah. So, yeah,
I ain't mad about it. Like I said, I think this is 1A, 1B. This is more of just, I think, at the significance and a personal, and I can go either which way.
Me too.
So,
be honest, this is a hard one.
Yeah.
All right, so which ones are staying and which ones are going?
All right, so if we're going to be picking our top 5, we're going to have to get rid of 3. And then from there, we can organize our top 5. So which one of these cars can we agree on have to go?
You know what? After much thought, I am okay with the RB26 swap Mustang going.
I agree.
You know what? I'm over. I also think that damn Eclipse can also go too.
Well, okay. from a criteria of significance and impact to the franchise more over your personal, I think in this group of cars right here, what can be debatable is going to be either the Eclipse and the Ice Charger. I feel of these pool of cars right here, when you're talking about overall significance to the franchise.
You know, okay, if we're going to go there, I still feel like the Ice Charger carries a lot more pull than the Eclipse, especially now.
What are your justifications for that?
Look, I don't have too many justifications for it because
other than it's cool.
It's only been a year or two since the movie came out, so maybe it needs a little bit more time to gain some steam. But if we want to be fair, earlier how you asked me about the Dodge Chargers and which one would I rather drive?
Yeah.
You used that argument on me. Which one would you rather drive, that Eclipse or that Ice Charger?
All right, we're getting the Eclipse out of here.
Get that Eclipse out of here, Brian.
That still doesn't solve our problem because we need to get rid of one more car. So essentially in this pool of cars, to the franchise, let's answer that question first. To the franchise, and then if we're still having a little bit of trouble, then it could come down to personal.
I know which one. And
I know which one.
I might get crucified for it.
Oh my God.
However, I'm okay with I think the white Eclipse, the white Supra should go. Here's why. Yes, it represented something super emotional and super sacred. Paul Walker's departure from the franchise and everything like that. But, you know, if we wanted to not think about that and we wanted to think about it in terms of just the wow factor and you know, action, pizzazz, cool stuff happening on screen, the white Eclipse, it didn't really do anything. The white Supra, it didn't really do anything that showed off performance. The RX-7, on the other hand, that showed off a lot.
That was going to be my pick, actually. So it's funny that you reference it. I can see your point. Mm-hmm. I understand your point with the Supra. And if it has to go, then so be it. But before we make that decision, I want to put this on you for the RX-7. So for all the reasons that you gave for the Supra, agreed, okay? But when I think about overall Fast and Furious franchise and like levels to what was most memorable, if I was to go around and ask a random person or even people here in the office, like some of their top Fast and Furious moments, would you think, your personal opinion, would you think that people would draw first to this or any scene that include the Villaside RX-7? That's a tough one, and I understand. That's a tough one, but you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
Is I feel like more people would be referencing this, but I totally understand the point of high action, modified, you know, things like that, because this is at the end of the day more or less a stock Supra. It's just the whole memorable impact.
All right, RX-7. I guess it can go. Whatever. So I think that for number 5, as far as impact, wow factor, and action, I think that the white Supra should be at number 5.
I agree. Yeah, I put that at number 5. Number 4, based on that criteria, I would have to put the Ice Charger.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, okay, why is that?
I can't put that above any of these three in front of me.
Yeah?
Just based on a franchise impact. Because this was one movie and it did have a couple of badass scenes to it. But when I think about, for the same justifications that we gave for each three of these cars, how there was one key pivotal moment that really, really stood out to us. While the Ice Charger was cool, there was not one scene for me that I could be like, dude, remember that scene when the Ice Charger did that?
When it jumped over the submarine, you mean? I remember that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm the only one.
I don't know. So like the Supra obviously had the jumping over the railroad. The R34, we both agreed when it turned on, it was going through, and it also jumped a really tall bridge, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the Charger doing that wheelie and just kind of being almost it is the icon of the car. It's the freaking logo, for goodness sake.
Yeah. All
so
right.
for that reason, I would have the Ice Charger at number 4.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. So we have Ice Charger at 4. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. 3, 2, 1 here.
Yeah. Charger at number 3.
Charger at number 3. All right, so we both agree that the black Charger is number 3. For me personally, if I was going off a personal bias and or decision, I would have the R34 Skyline as my number 1, even though I had the Supra number 1 on my list. The only reason why it became number 1 on my list is because I feel this car personally solidified what Fast and Furious was, or epitomizes what Fast and Furious is, and really nothing more than that. So, in my opinion, 1A, 1B, you can't go wrong with whichever one.
We both win.
Yeah. Either way, if we wanted to run the R34 as number 1, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, like I would be happy with either one being number 2 or being number 1.
So, because we've weighed most of these based on franchise significance, I say we let our personal feelings get in the way here, and we go Supra number 2 and R34 Skyline number 1. R34 Skyline number 1.
Fair.
So that rounds out our top 5. Number 5, we have the white Toyota Supra. Number 4, the Ice Charger. Number 3, Dom Street Charger. Number 2, the orange Toyota Supra. And coming in at number 1, Brian Silver R34 Skyline.
Can't go wrong.
No, you cannot. That's a solid top 5. I'm happy with it.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I think that we found out what our top 5 cars are from the Fast and Furious. We are actually pretty curious to know, what do you guys think about our list? And if you could change some of the placings within this list, what would you guys do? Do us a favor, drop a like, and we'll leave a comment below. I'm actually very curious to read what your guys' thoughts on this are. Well, thank you for joining us on this one. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think that we should come up with these types of lists a lot more often.
So stay tuned for more content similar to this if you guys enjoyed it. Also, give it a thumbs up. Follow us online at Jada Toys on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next one.